Hello students, welcome back. So I hope you must be enjoying my lectures. In this session, we'll be discussing the concept of argument of a complex number. First of all, we shall discuss what do we mean by the argument. And then you will also get to know that when we talk of argument, it can be either general argument or principal value of argument or least positive argument. So stay tuned.
So we now have a very important concept, which is argument of a complex number. So what do we mean by argument? And basically when we discuss of argument, you'll get to know that there can be three types of argument. So first of all, we'll discuss the definition of argument. The angle theta made by the line segment joining the point on the complex plane representing the complex number z to the origin from the positive real axis is called the argument of the complex number z, which is denoted as argument of z is equal to theta. So what is it saying? That the angle theta made by the line segment joining the point on the complex plane representing the complex number z to the origin from the positive real axis. You can see in this figure, this is x plus iota y. Suppose we have a complex number z is x plus iota y. So this is the point, this is the complex number z, and on the complex plane or the Argand plane we can represent it as the ordered pair xy, right? So this is that number, and therefore this angle theta would be termed as the argument. And how do you denote argument? You can just write ARG, that means argument of z. This denotes argument of the complex number z is the angle theta. So now, as I've told you, in case of argument, we'll be discussing three types of argument, which is general argument, then we'll discuss principal value of argument, that is also amplitude, and then least positive argument. So first of all, we have the general argument. If OP makes an angle theta with real axis, then theta is called one of the argument of z. And the general values of argument of z are given by 2 and pi plus theta where n belongs to I. So the general value of argument is given by 2 and pi plus theta, where theta is the angle that we have discussed just now, that is the argument, and hence this means that any two arguments of a complex number differ by 2 pi. The things will get clearer once we switch to certain examples. Like we have here an example. If z is 1 plus iota, then argument of z is pi by 4. How do you get that? See, this is my real axis, this is my imaginary axis, x and y axis, and I have the complex number z as 1 plus iota. That means here this is 1, this is 1, so I have this as 1 plus iota, or you can write it as 1, 1. Which means this is the real part 1 plus iota times the imaginary part, which is also 1. So if you see the angle made by this 1 plus iota, this is a point, this angle is pi by 4. This is my origin. So since this angle is pi by 4, therefore argument of z in this case is pi by 4. And therefore, as we have discussed here, the general value of argument would be z equal to 2n pi plus pi by 4. General value of argument is 2n pi plus angle theta, which in this case is pi by 4. So it becomes 2n pi plus pi by 4. Next is amplitude or principal argument. The unique value of theta such that minus pi is less than theta is less than equal to pi is termed as the principal value of the argument. So the unique value of theta such that this holds true is termed as a principal value of argument. That means we'll be discussing that in only in minus pi to pi. Unless otherwise stated, amplitude of z, AMPZ would mean amplitude of z, right? This is amplitude of z, refers to the principal value of argument. Now what is the working rule to find out the principal argument or the amplitude of a complex number z? Suppose we have a complex number z equal to a plus ib, then first of all what you will do is that you will compute alpha, which is tan inverse of mod b by mod a. That means you are given a complex number a plus ib. First of all you will find out alpha, which is equal to tan inverse of imaginary part, modulus of imaginary part divided by modulus of real part. And then we can have 4 cases. What kind of cases? First case means, suppose you have that z lies in first quadrant. What do we mean by this first quadrant? It means that the values of a and b, if you have a complex number z is a plus ib, it will lie in the first quadrant, obviously if both a and b are positive. So that means a and b both are positive. Suppose this is my AB, ordered pair AB, right? And suppose this is say something M, this is my origin, this is the real axis and this is the imaginary axis. Then this value of theta, then amplitude of z or the principal value, principal argument of z would be equal to theta, which is equal to alpha. That means the first case says if z lies in the first quadrant and this is my AB, complex number a plus ib, that is this is my ordered pair AB, and it makes the angle theta, this is the angle theta with the x-axis, then amplitude of z is equal to theta, which is in turn equal to alpha, and alpha is what we have calculated, that is tan inverse modulus of b by modulus of a. Similarly, suppose case 2 would be obviously if z lies in second quadrant. And now what do we mean by that? If z lies in second quadrant, that means a is negative but b is positive. That means the situation is somewhat like this. Okay, we have to concentrate on the second quadrant. This is my second quadrant. So my AB is somewhere here. So what would be the amplitude or the principal value of argument in that case? This is my, so this would be my theta. In this case, my theta would be this. You'll always take it from this real axis, positive real axis. So suppose this would be alpha, this is my theta, and therefore amplitude, in this case amplitude of z would be equal to theta, which is pi minus alpha. See, this whole would be pi and therefore minus this would be pi minus alpha. So amplitude of z in this case is theta, which is pi minus alpha. Now case 3 is z lies in third quadrant. Third quadrant, now obviously again we'll have third quadrant means a is negative and b is also negative. So the situation would be somewhat like this. My AB is somewhere here and therefore this is alpha and my theta would be this. So what would be my amplitude in this case? This is my origin. So amplitude of z would be again theta, which would be minus of pi minus alpha. Now you can see this is pi minus alpha, but this is negative. So negative of pi minus alpha would be my amplitude. Next is fourth case, if z lies in fourth quadrant. Now in fourth quadrant, that means the situation would be this. This is my z, that is AB. This is my origin, x-axis, and this would be my theta, right? So in this case, now fourth quadrant means that A would be positive but B would be negative, and therefore amplitude of z, as is apparent from figure also, that amplitude of z would be equal to theta, which would be equal to simply minus alpha. So once you understand these 4 cases, you can easily solve out any question based on principal argument or amplitude. So first of all, you will find out whenever you are given a complex number z, you will first of all find out the angle alpha, which is tan inverse of mod b by mod a. and then corresponding to whichever case the complex number falls, that is in whichever quadrant the complex number falls, you can simply write down the amplitude. You can either learn these values that if z lies in the second quadrant, then amplitude is pi minus alpha, minus of pi minus alpha, and so on. Or if you don't want to learn, you can understand this and you can apply it in the questions. That you can solve out the amplitude on the basis of the values of a and b, whether they are positive or negative. So now we have certain important points. If z is purely real positive complex number, then amplitude of z is equal to 0. So what does that mean? Z is purely real positive complex number. Purely real, as we have already discussed, would mean that z is somewhere on this axis. Only then can it be purely real. That means the imaginary part is 0. Then obviously the angle that it makes with this axis is 0, and therefore amplitude would also be 0. Similarly, if z is purely imaginary, that means it would lie on this axis, somewhere on this axis. So if z is purely imaginary, then the amplitude of z, that is the angle which this complex number makes with this axis, is 90, and therefore the amplitude would be 90. If z is purely real negative complex number, would mean z lies somewhere here on this axis, and therefore the amplitude would be this angle, which is pi. And similarly, purely imaginary negative number would mean somewhere on this axis, and therefore this angle is minus of pi by 2, and therefore amplitude is minus of pi by 2. So I hope these concepts must be clear by now. We have an example here. Find the amplitude of 1 plus root 3i divided by root 3 plus I. So first of all, what you will do is that my given complex number is 1 plus root 3i by root 3 plus I. So first of all, I will multiply the numerator and denominator by root 3 minus I, and this gives me root 3 minus I plus 3i minus root 3i square, divided by, we have a plus b, a minus b, so we get a square minus b square. So this gives me I square is minus 1, that is iota square is minus 1, and therefore we have minus becomes plus. So we have 2 root 3 plus 2i by, again iota square is minus 1, so we have 4. So this becomes root 3 plus I by 2. So this is the required complex number, and given complex number in fact, and we are required to find out the amplitude. So first of all, as we have discussed, what you will do is, this is my complex number, and first of all amplitude of z, first of all it lies in first quadrant, because a and b both are positive. You can see a is root 3 by 2 and b is 1 by 2, both are positive, so it lies in the first quadrant. Now since it lies in the first quadrant, first of all we will find out alpha. Alpha is tan inverse of mod b by mod a. So this is tan inverse modulus of b, that is 1 by 2 by root 3 by 2. So this is tan inverse 1 by root 3, which is pi by 6. So moreover, since it lies in the first quadrant, I am writing it here, since it lies in first quadrant, therefore amplitude of z is theta is alpha, which is pi by 6. So this is the simple answer. In fact, this was quite simple. If you would have understood those cases, you would have understood this question also. Next is least positive argument. The value of theta such that 0 is less than theta is less than equal to 2 pi is called the least positive argument. So this is the third type of argument, that is least positive argument. The value of theta which satisfies this condition, that it lies between 0 to 2 pi, that will be termed as the least positive argument. So we have some examples based on this, that find the general argument. Now you will get to know the difference between general argument, principal argument and least positive argument. So my first given complex number is minus 1 plus iota. First of all, again, it lies in second quadrant. At least this you must be knowing that minus 1 plus I, so my A is negative and B is positive, and therefore you can write down A is negative, B is positive, so it lies in the second quadrant. Now since it lies in the second quadrant, first of all we'll find out alpha, which is tan inverse mod B by mod A, which is tan inverse. Now modulus of B would be 1, modulus of A is again 1. So this is pi by 4. So alpha is pi by 4. Now we have already discussed that this complex number lies in the second quadrant, and therefore the amplitude of Z is equal to pi minus pi by 4, which is equal to 3 pi by 4. Right? So my amplitude is 3 pi by 4, and further, therefore the general argument, we were required to find out the general argument, principal argument, that is amplitude, and the least positive argument, right? These are the three things we were required to find. General argument becomes 2n pi plus 3 pi by 4. By the definition of general argument, we get this. Principal argument is 3 pi by 4, and least positive argument is also 3 pi by 4. Since least positive argument is, it should lie between 0 to 2 pi. So these are the three required answers. Now this was the first part. Now I have the second part, and it says root 7 minus 2 iota. Right? Now again, first of all, we'll see root 7 minus 2 iota is, my A is 0 in fact, because this is purely imaginary number. The real part is 0 since the whole term is in iota. So since it is purely imaginary, therefore my amplitude is simply pi by 2. If you remember, we have just now discussed purely imaginary positive complex number, so amplitude is pi by 2, right? So the amplitude is pi by 2, and therefore the general argument, principal argument, and least positive argument. Least positive argument, principal argument, general argument, right? So my general argument becomes 2n pi plus pi by 2. Principal argument is pi by 2, and least positive is also pi by 2. So I hope this concept of argument must be clear by now, and I am repeating, this concept is extremely important. You can expect questions based on this concept, and in fact this concept is also used in various other concepts that we'll be studying later in complex numbers itself, right? So do focus on this. Practice a very good number of questions in fact on this topic also.
Well, I hope you must have understood the concept of argument of the complex number. As I've already told you, this concept is extremely important from examination point of view. So we have already discussed that in case of argument, we can either have general argument, principal value of argument, or least positive argument. In the next session, we'll be switching to representation of complex number in various forms like trigonometric form, exponential form, etc. So stay tuned.